Angela here, and welcome to Let's Walk London from the City of London. That's an old bit of London Wall, the old wall around the City of London, and just behind it you can see the Barbican. So it's the first week of March. And we've had atrocious weather again. This is the first half decent day we've had in a very long time. I'm just going to straighten up the Osmo pocket as always. There we go. There's the Museum of London over there. And as I said, through there is the Barbican. We're going to head through here, deep into city territory.
So you're telling me if a banyan was out,
looks like we've got some attractive air conditioning units there. Okay, so we have this tower-like structure ahead of us. Well, I must admit, I don't actually know what it is. And I had a quick look on the map. Also didn't tell me what it is. Just have a look at this little map here. See if it tells me. No. I can't see it telling me. No. Okay. Is that an actual installation or just practical? So here we have the City of London police station. So if you're drunk and disorderly on a night out in the City of London, and those who watch my channel regularly will know there's a difference between the City of London and the West End or Westminster. So here's the City of London police station, a place you probably don't want to end up. Probably means you drunk too much alcohol or become a bit too bad-tempered. So we're heading along here. This is Wood Street. But first of all, let's go down Love Lane. Just show you some of our little green spaces around here. So there's one thing you'll always find in London. Green spaces, and in the City of London especially, churches. So we're just coming down here. Just want to show you one of our little green spaces here. And actually, funnily enough, for the workers around here, I know quite a few people who work around here, this is a spot where they come for their smoking break, their cigarette breaks. But also for their lunches. The healthy stuff as well. So this is St Mary Aldermanbury. St Mary Aldermanbury. And you may remember from an earlier city walk that I took you into a lovely little garden space at St Dunstan's. And I think that was during the autumn, so people were out enjoying their lunch. As you can see, we're just starting to get some blossom. Just starting to get the spring blossoms now. Believe me, after the winter we've had in the UK, we're pretty keen for spring to start. Records of St Mary Aldermanbury date back to 1181, and a wren church stood on this site after the original building was destroyed in the Great Fire. During the Second World War, there was more damage, and the ruins were shipped to Fulton, Missouri, where the church was re-erected. Wow. The garden is now home to a memorial to Hemming and Condell, Shakespearean actors who published the first folio of Shakespeare's plays, which is here. There we are. So a little tiny detour then. So I was trying to get you to St Paul's, but I do find on these city walks, because it was all very higgledy-piggledy in the past, and sort of streets and churches and little details pop out of nowhere and I kind of get distracted. So I'm going to head this way now. Now just here we have the Guildhall Library, the City Business Library, which I think you can go and use. And interestingly, and I'm going to go inside, the City Police Museum. So we've got the City of London Police Station just behind, and the history of the police and the city in this museum in here. So let's go and have a look, shall we? That's an old telephone exchange. Amazing. Look, there's a police public call box. Very Doctor Who. Oh look, suffragette movement. Being arrested. Animals. Horses, dogs. Ooh, uniforms. Inspectors, 1870s. Apparently the helmet design influenced by the Greeks. Greek helmets. Lots of weapons. Wow. Look, woman constable's uniform for the women police officers from 1969. Aldermen. The City of London's wards are each still supervised by an alderman. The Court of Aldermen was responsible for the administration of the city before the Court of Common Council took over. William Heath, a slap at the Charlies. So the old men Charlies. People just made fun of them. What have we got here? Marshalmen's swords, 18th and 19th centuries. Watch and ward, so how they divided up the city. A tour party there, don't want to disturb. Let's head out, another hidden gem in the City of London. We finished with the Police Museum. I do hope you enjoyed that. As I said, there was a school party in there, so I didn't really want to interfere with them, and also don't want the woman guide to have me pinching her material. So just come out there, and now we will finally get, hopefully, to St. Paul's if I don't get distracted again. So somebody giving directions over there. Just coming along Aldermanbury here. Now, if you remember from the Police Museum about the aldermen, previous guards of the City of London. Here's a map, as it is now. Actually, while I'm here, let me just point out this church. It's a beautiful little church. The water feature. Lovely tower. As I said, in the City of London, you're never more than a few metres from a church. Won't go in, although you can actually go in. I don't really like filming people's religious observance. Church open, fresh coffee, toilets and peace available. This is St. Lawrence Jewry, okay? So this is St. Lawrence Jewry Church next to Guildhall. And you can get some coffee, go to the toilet, and dotted around London you'll find quite a lot of churches that offer drinks and snacks, a chance to go to the toilet, which is quite handy. So through there is the City of London Guildhall. We're actually going to circle round back to there imminently, but I still have an obsession to get you to the St. Paul's Cathedral. So we're on Gresham Street now. There is a map of the City of London. You can see it's got both its western and eastern extent marked here. Towards Whitechapel at one end, Aldgate, and at the other end along Fleet Street, ending at the Temple Bar Memorial, which we will get to shortly when we get to St Paul's Cathedral. So sumptuous office buildings here, as is very much the case throughout the City of London. So we're going to head this way. So it's coming up to lunchtime now. You noticed all my walks I tend to end up during people's lunchtimes, because I tend to get a train about 9:30, 10 o'clock. By the time I've researched my walk and worked out what I'm doing, where I'm going, everyone's having their lunch. So just going to skirt through some office buildings here. Which road am I on? Can't see. It's a little bit windy today, so sorry if you get some of that on the mic. Loads of building work as always. And as I mentioned, when we head down Cheapside, we'll actually find it's dug up. Had I known it was dug up, I wouldn't have come for a walk here. But there's some nice, interesting spots anyway. Right, let's head over here. So Sadler's Hall ahead of us, and you'll notice the name of this road is Gutter Lane. Now, I have some history of Gutter Lane. So this is Gutter Lane, used to be Godrun Lane, named after a lady called Guthrun, until the 15th century. Let's head that down a bit, the Osmo pockets a little bit upwards. And this was an early place of residence for the city gold beaters. Okay, so this was the home of the gold trade and gold beating back in the day. And it evolved into the name gutter, or should I say gutter, as in guttural. So Gutter Lane was formerly the word gutter, a slang term for the throat, which was a pun on the Latin gutter, or throat, as in guttural. And so as we look amongst these office buildings in Sadler's Hall, we can remember Guthrun, who originally gave the place its name. And this was, as I said, the home then of the gold trade in London. Gold beaters originally, and that developed into a gold trading area. So here we are out on Cheapside. I want to take you to Paternoster Square. We're heading west at the moment.
No, I mean,
Lots of sandwich places, eating places, lots of chains, Starbucks, Pret a Manger, Costa Coffee. Eats, all perfectly usable places to eat. You know, if you want to eat and drink, go ahead. Space NK. I've heard that restaurant there is good. I think it's a Turkish restaurant and cafe, popular with locals on business lunches or escaping the office. So it's always a helicopter, so I can get that for you. Anyway, here we are at St Paul's. As I said, we're a little bit circular today, going to dash in and out of a few places. let's cross. So we're crossing, no, we're not crossing the top of Cheapside because the lights have changed. So I'll just show you over here. We have the underground station. Okay, that's the underground station for St. Paul's. And if we head in that direction, we're heading towards Farringdon to the west. And in that direction, we would be heading down to the River Thames. Crossover. So we're going to head into Paternoster Square. I actually really like Paternoster Square, not just because they film first dates at the restaurant. You can see another of my videos where I sort of tell you how much I love watching first dates and have a quick look at the menu in the chop house. Anyway, let's head through here. So this has been vastly rebuilt. So this was heavily bombed during the Second World War, rebuilt again, and then by the 1990s, I mean, I remember it in the sort of 1990s, wasn't that nice. Very grey, old 1960s buildings, and businesses were slowly moving out. And so they decided to have another go at rebuilding it. And I think I've said in a previous video that the Robbie Williams video to Angels was partly filmed at the old Paternoster Square. There we are. Canon Alley. So this is the newly rebuilt version. And here I must reference John Orkin, because last time I came filming through here, he pointed out, why didn't you reference the old temple entrance to the City of London that has actually been reconstructed here. So there was originally the Temple Bar entrance into the City of London from Westminster that was at Temple. Anyway, that was taken down and reconstructed here. There you are, Elizabeth Frink made that particular sculpture. So as you can see, lots of eating places. Just draw your attention to this before we linger in front of the Paternoster Chop House, where First Dates is filmed. So here we are at the Paternoster Chop House, as I said. First Dates is filmed here. Let's see what they've got on offer today. Fisherman's pie with garden peas, £18. Squirrel and rabbit pie, going wild and crazy. Squirrel and rabbit pie with sprouting broccoli, £25. Yep, some people don't think they're that happy about it. Rib eye steak on the bone, £8, 100 grams. Sirloin on the bone, £9, 100 grams. There we are, there you go. People waiting to go in. As I said, it's they only come here for the filming, the people that you see. They don't actually work here full time, so don't come here expecting to see Fred, those that watch it, because he's not there. So them's the bells, and they are telling us it's exactly midday on Friday the 6th of March. Bit of a sculpture over there. And Vidal Sassoon hair. So if I'm not mistaken, mistaken, this is the Temple Arch that John Orkin took me to task on for not mentioning last time. As I said, the old entrance to the city at its western extent rebuilt here when it was moved. Okay, so here we are at St Paul's. Massive fans of my channel will have been here before. And you will remember, reconstructed after the Great Fire of London, Sir Christopher Wren, all that kind of thing. Right, it's quite cold, it's quite a cold wind here, so we're going to head this way, and I'm sorry if it's getting breezy on the microphone again. What's this here? Not noticed that before. It's a little water thing, erected by St Faith's Parish, 1819. It's an old water pump. Don't think the light's picking it up that well. Interesting. Doing a lot of building work now. Autumn 2020. That's all going to be finished. So they're going to do design work in keeping with Sir Christopher Wren's original design. We're looking forward to see what they end up with. I think they especially want to make it wheelchair friendly, accessible for the disabled population.
But they want to move like one.
So this is St Paul's Churchyard. So technically, I think that little alleyway is called St Paul's Churchyard. Through there, yes it is. And then we've got the actual gardens through here. Just pop this through. There's the gardens. They're very popular in the summer. Again, when people come for their lunch in a nice green space. Okay, so we're just crossing now. You may remember we crossed here just about 5-10 minutes ago at the most. We're in the new change area. I'm actually going to take you into the brand new shopping centre once I've waited to cross this road. Okay, people are crossing. Oh, yep, it's gone green. So this is new change, and we have an amazing new shopping centre here, one new change.
Relax in the office Friday.
Wasn't here when I used to work in the area. And you can do a bit of decent shopping around here. So we've got Top Shop here, Wallace over there. Top Man, Top Shop.
We work together, 20 years.
There is a myth that people that work in the City of London earn a lot of money. There is a truism, a lot of people do earn a lot of money. As many people do fairly random, mundane jobs in the City of London, and they're going to want those sales. And cheaper shops too. So elbow by elbow with the top end shops like Calvin Klein in here. You will have Topshop with a 60% sale. So lots of outfitters here, TM Lewin, Molten Brown, The Body Shop, Nespresso have I don't know if it's a flagship store, but a pretty big store here where you get your fix, get your machines, get your capsules. It's a really popular shop, an espresso shop here. So here we are going into the shopping centre. This is one new change. So we've got Hugo Boss here. Swarovski crystals with a 15% sale. See what they got here. What am I seeing for 159, 209, 329 for the watch. We've got Pandora over here. Ooh, we've got German whole grain baker's shop. I do love brown bread. Fraser Hart, lots of watches. Tag. What else have we got? Cos, women's clothing shop. A little bit higher end, but not high end, I would say. Cos. Let's see if I can see a price on that. Nope, they are not showing me that price. So we've got Mango, Hackett. What's over here? Logica. Oh, Oliver Bonus. Quite a nice little shop for unusual gifts. In fact, I could do to buy a gift in there right now. But I'm on a little bit of a time pressure. More little stalls here. I'm not going to go upstairs. There's eating areas upstairs. Okay. So if you want to go eat, you can go upstairs. You've got handmade macaroons there. See if they're telling me who's up here. Bread Street Kitchen. H&M, Nando's, the Ivy Asia. I've heard the Ivy Asia is very, very good. And I've heard that the Bread Street Kitchen, is that a Jamie Oliver place? The Bread Street Kitchen I've heard is very good. You can go downstairs as well. Lot more of these. £2.80 for one of those baked items. Got some scarves. Cake hole. 1 for £1 for a donut. I don't know if it's a sliding scale of payment for your 1 for £1, and all under the gaze of St Paul's over there. You can see more shops down here. I won't do a shopping tour. LK Bennett's, M&S Simply Food, and as you can see, absolutely everyone's out for lunch now. Everybody's coming to eat, shop, get out the office for a while. Brownie God, I bet they are. I'm going to try a bit, sorry.
I know, I'm trying not
To try that.
Why?
Good.
I'm sorry, I'm eating a minute now. Jewellery, hand-carved crystals, sweet treats. It's called the Gold Rush. Anyway, bit of silence while I eat this chocolate brownie bit. So, as I said, digging it up now. Which I didn't know when I planned the walk. So I'm very much hoping. Maybe we'll come back another day when it's all finished. Though I do find in London it's not very easy to find a day when there isn't digging up going on. Hotel Chocolat, very nice. Do love chocolate. Hello, doggy. Hello. Always feel my dog. So maybe I should tell you a little bit of history. Sorry, we're just crossing Bread Street. Cheapside has been the City of London's main shopping street for a millennium. It takes its name from cheap, which is spelled C-H-E-P-E, which is a Saxon word for market, and that's exactly what it was. So it connected the southern end of the Roman Watling Street with the main city settlement to its east. And its alignment was dictated by convenient bridging points, particularly across what is now a subterranean river, the River Walbrook. So here's Bow Churchyard. Now, I'm sure you've heard of St Mary le Bow Church. It's quite famous. There's the time, we're looking way up. Some people say put it on tilt mode when you want to pan a building. And there's a cafe here, cafe below. vegan Thai green curry or chicken pie. So this church, actually, the first church of St Mary le Bow, was built in about 1080 by Archbishop Lanfranc. There you are, people are actually going in. I think they're going into the cafe. Actually they do a meditation workshop. Maybe there for that. Name likely refers to the bowed shape of the arches supporting its undercroft, which I think is where people are heading to eat, which were very novel at the time. And by the 12th century this area was full of market buildings, and those market buildings actually formed, in the 12th century later on, they formed viewing platforms for jousting tournaments, because jousting was a big thing then. So we're walking along Bow Lane, and it's actually a short detour because I just want to show you what some of our little lanes look like throughout the City of London. Bar Remo pasta specials, can't see prices there. Barker English shoemakers since 1880. Pret a Manger, what else have we got? Went to a very nice pub along here a while ago. So you see you've got lots, that's sort of back to the churchyard there. Then you've got the Bow wine vaults here. Loke shoemakers, so quite a few shoemakers. Maybe this was a shoemaking area back in more historical times. Paul Smith. Jack the Clipper, I love it. Jack the Clipper, brilliant. Obviously referring to Jack the Ripper. Not that funny. Some people, obviously. Here's Groveland Court. Leonidas. Just show you through here, okay? So this is Williamson's Tavern and Martha's Cellar dining room. And this, the bit I really love about the City of London is all these little tucked away spots. So Williamson's Tavern, pub there. Here we've got the Four Sisters. Oops, getting wet. And Martha's Cellar are available for private hire. All tucked up. This tiny little lane. And back in the day when this was originally a massive, Cheapside originally was a huge market square. So much so that it actually just had teeny little roadways off it. This particular place dates back to the 17th century, built not long after the Great Fire of London. So yes, Cheapside was actually in effect a massive, great big market, as I said, where they sort of watched jousting and things. Little tiny little narrow streets. That's Paul. Lovely chocolates there. And so it wasn't actually that good for traffic flow. And so here we are at Watling Street. So Watling Street was sort of the southern extent of the old Cheapside. Now let me show you something here. This is a queue. It's a queue. I have a feeling, here's Jones, which is a shoe and boot maker. The feeling they're queuing for food. There's the old Watling. So as I said, kind of the southern extent of the city. What are they queuing for that's so good? Maybe if I come at 11 AM I can also get something here without a queue. It is I've heard of them. Porterford Butchers. They are supposed to be really good. And I'm guessing they're maybe buying pies or something like that. Anyway, well worth it, obviously, for the queue. Hope that goes down fast. Right, so the chaos of Bow Lane. I think I'm going to cross through the queue and go back to Cheapside again. Might take a while. There we go. Let's head back up through here. So the joy of the city at lunchtime, and I really do love the city at lunchtime because it's so busy with everybody like shopping and getting their food and just getting out of the office as well. Traditional haircuts, Rigby and Pella. They do specialist bra fitting because most women are wearing bras that don't really fit them that well. So as I said, we've recently passed Gutter Lane, the centre of the jewellery trade, where most of the London goldsmiths sold their wares, over at Gutter Street. Now, this area after the Great Fire of London had to be reconstructed, and perhaps you can see why. It's very, very packed. So they wanted to literally remove these bottlenecks from the area, so that there was a continuous link with Poultry, which is down at the bottom, which was the connecting street to the east. So as I said, Cheapside heads up to St Paul's, where we've just come in from in the west, and down to Poultry in the east. Now, we've just seen St Mary de Bow Church, which was rebuilt also by Sir Christopher Wren, with a tower that actually used the Roman gravel roadway that had originally gone past it as its foundations. I think many of you will know that a true Cockney is technically born within the sound of the Bow Bells. Here's Chain House. Why am I showing you Chain House? I used to work there a long time ago. And there's the top, the tower at the top, designed by Sir Christopher Wren. Then, as I said, you can see lots of teeny tiny little places heading off here and there. Now, because there's roadways, I'm actually going to cross here, because I want to take you along King Street to the Guildhall. While we're heading towards the Guildhall, just continue with a bit of history. So the City of London actually took a long time to recover from the Great Fire, but by the 18th century, very much reinvigorated, and by 1775 I have read that a visitor observed that with its thousands of candles, the City of London looked as if it was illuminating a festival. A festivity, I think they said. By the late 19th century, people were very excited. This street is called Trump Street. Don't know what to make of that. By the late 19th century, most of this area was completely rebuilt with office blocks and shops at street level. So we're heading down King Street towards the Guildhall, and the Guildhall, I think the Great Hall, parts of the Guildhall date back as far as the 11th century, I think, something like that. So we're just about to try and cross Gresham Street, City of London in that direction, eastbound. In many ways we're kind of at the western side of the city here, between Bank and St Paul's. So we were just starting our walk just over there behind what you can see at the Barbican and City Wall. We've actually not gone that far, but there's so much to see in such a short space of time. So here we are heading towards the Guildhall now, at the back now of St Lawrence Jewry, where we looked earlier. So here we have a old public police box, not in service. As I've said, hint of the Doctor Who's about it maybe. And here we have the Guildhall Art Gallery. Now, I've already done some filming in there, we'll pop along to that in a sec. And it's a free art gallery, it has Victorian art and a Roman amphitheatre, the remains of a Roman amphitheatre downstairs. And I popped in and I said, do you mind if I film? And somebody went and asked somebody else, and that somebody else asked somebody else, and they said, yep, come on in and film. So let's go in there now and I'll show you what I filmed. So we're in the City of London Heritage Gallery. There's an amphitheatre, London Roman Amphitheatre there. It's the Agas map, 1561, earliest printed map of London. Got the Great Parchment Book, 1639. So that's a study room in there, We've got some ancient artefacts here. London's Roman Amphitheatre was excavated in the 1980s. Just a selection of Roman objects recovered. So some history here of the amphitheatre. Gladiatorial contests probably originated in the funeral ceremonies of the elite. Dating from around AD 70, the first amphitheatre was constructed entirely in wood. There it is down there. Let's go see if we can have a look. Can't talk too much, there's quite a lot of people about just looking at the exhibits. Don't want to destroy their visit. Victorian landscapes. Let's go look at the amphitheatre. Roman London's amphitheatre. In AD 43, the island of Britain was invaded by the Romans. At AD 47, the Romans were laying out a new settlement, Londinium, in the area now occupied by the City of London. So apparently it was long believed there was an amphitheatre, but one had never been found until 1988, when they were excavating for this particular Guildhall Art Gallery that we're in now. So gladiatorial activity would have been a major entertainment in London life at the time. They do point out that dying was very much a public spectacle event back then. There's a party of school kids just coming in, so I'm going to head off. Leadenhall Market. Leadenhall Market, 1968, by Jacqueline Stanley. Billingsgate Market, 62. Portrait of a fire judge. Portrait of a fire judge. In September 1666, the Great Fire of London destroyed huge swathes of the walled medieval city of London, making over 65,000 people homeless. King Charles and the city appointed a commission of 6 surveyors to assess the damage and oversee the rebuilding. A special commission of royal judges, the Fire Court, was appointed to settle disagreements between tenants and landlords and assess compensation claims. (1737). Covent Garden Market and St Paul's Church. The opening ceremony of Tower Bridge, 1894 to 1895, by William Lionel Wiley. Chaos on London Bridge, date unknown. I actually love this photo. Is it a photo or drawing? Market Arcade by Ben Jonson. This was created in 1988. This is a great little place, deep in the city, right next to the Guildhall. Demolition of Old London Bridge, as seen from the Southwark side, where you will have been with me, 1832. We weren't there then. There you are, Victorian landscapes from above. Let's go out here. So we were just in the Roman Amphitheatre, Undercroft Galleries. Let's go upstairs. Here we are, back to the Guildhall. Here we are right at the top. I can't remember what this gallery is. It's a free Friday tour. It's Friday today, 6th of March. There's a free tour at 2:15 or at 3:15. So we seem to be looking at Victorian artwork here. And what's that? That's a big pile of people having a meeting. The first London School Board, about 1873. Well, if you love your art and you're interested in Victorian or the remains of a Roman amphitheatre, here's your spot. It's free, although I think I'm going to go to the gift shop and buy a little something just to say thank you for letting me film. Have a look at these windows. Here we are. Window for the Worshipful Company of Shipwrights. Nice. Sort of see Lord Mayors and things out there sometimes. See some taxis. And I think we'll head down, so you can see over there there's a gift shop. I'm going to pop there in a sec, and then I'll head off around the rest of Cheapside. See you there. And I bought a duck. Here's the duck I bought. There you go. They were so nice. I bought a duck. He said, why don't you take it filming with you all the time? Could do. Right, so here we have something set up to bring our attention to the Lord Mayor's Big Curry Lunch, which is the Lord Mayor's Big Curry Lunch, City of London's fundraiser for Her Majesty's Armed Forces and Veterans. Have a little installation here. Understanding pain has changed my life. by Joe Nightingale, and I'm able to feel positive about my future. Also Joe Nightingale. The towers of the Guildhall behind it. As I said, there's a great hall deep in here, and they actually used to hold trials, including at least one member of the Gunpowder Plot in there. I think the Great Hall mostly survived the Great Fire of London. Some rebuilding. Here we are. It's a really beautiful day, finally. There we go. Back round to the church, and let's head this way. So I'm going to head back to me and my duck. Hey ducky. Me and my duck. I'm going to head back to Cheapside now and down to Bank, where I will finish this walk. And I'm actually going to go to Fortnum and Mason's, so I've got to buy a few things. So those of you who came with me on my little mini Christmas walk into Fortnum and Mason's at the Royal Exchange at Bank, you would have seen me there to get some cheese. I also got a little Christmas decoration, really expensive one, but they were pleased with it. Hey, I've got a green man across the road. Woohoo. So we started the walk not far in that direction, but we've taken in the Police Museum and the Art Gallery just behind us, St Paul's Cathedral, some cute little lanes and back streets, and now we're heading back down Cheapside towards Bank Station, where I will be going into the Royal Exchange. Me and my duck. There you are. Duck's in front of me now. Here we go.
Yeah, very wide.
I don't think I'm going to put him in the bath. I think I will maybe take him on my walks with me. The adventures of the, I don't know, Guildhall duck. Hello, Guildhall duck. Looks like a, is it because of the amphitheatre? Looks like a Roman Centurion. It's amazing numbers. So people, sorry, I'm just lifting up my bag. So it was, you know, I'd mentioned in the bit of filming, lots of gladiatorial activities, but literally thousands upon thousands of people dying in combat, which was entertainment, plus the animals that they fought. So I don't know if I saw a figure of about 11,000 people dying in combat, really in entertainment, but I think 18,000 animals died too. I know we used to do bear baiting down on the south bank. Didn't actually check what animals they might have been. There's another little one down there, another little street. Don't know what animals were actually involved in the combat for the gladiators. Slightly on the wrong side of the road. Cheapside would traditionally just over here. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm in the right spot. So this is the end of Cheapside, and historically it ended here at Poultry. So this, I never really liked this building very much. It's been here quite a long time. And it's got a decent restaurant or two in it. I think I've eaten there once. But this is traditionally the eastern extent then, other than the subterranean river. That was the bridging point originally, but this was kind of the eastern extent of Cheapside. And as I've said to you before, I kind of see Bank as the dividing line in the city between sort of the western side of the city that then ends along Fleet Street and at Temple, and then the eastern side of the city, which kind of ends at Aldgate area and towards Whitechapel. So this sort of point here at Bank I see as the dividing line. Very unusually, Mr. Let's Walk London is going to meet me. Oh, there's the Ned, the non-executive director, which I think is a pub now. It used to be a bank. I think I went in there when I used to work in this area. Pubs, yeah, many banks turned into pubs these days. or eateries. Anyway, yeah, so Mr. Let's Walk London is going to be meeting me at the Royal Exchange to pop into Fortnum and Mason. Mrs. Elizabeth Fry, prison reformer, lived here. There's a bus. That is not the bus I took on my bus trip. Those of you who know the channel well know that I took a bus, which I think it comes around the other side. Or does it? No, it comes from the other direction. I took a bus from Victoria through to Liverpool Street. That was an excellent trip. Really enjoyed that bus trip. Very good sights on the number 11 bus. Right, let's see if I can get across here. This is the Bank of England here. So Bank Underground Station, Bank of England, and I am going to head in there into the Royal Exchange. And I've got a green man, so I'm going to cross the road. Hey there, well I do hope you enjoyed that walk around the City of London. I am in the Royal Exchange and I will see you next time. Bye bye.